Nobody's favorite Link deck's back, World Chalice. So World Chalice is another one of the decks, and I always repeat myself, that I love to rehash, redo, remake, and like most of my profiles, I got some things I'm still testing out that I can give suggestions for, but this has been way better than me forcing myself to run Brilliant without being willing to run any of the plants and stuff now that Brilliant's to 1. So I just decided to say F Brilliant Fusion and Seraph Knight, and I messed up with a little bit in the extra deck, and it's still in some testing, but it's worked out pretty well against some pretty good decks. So let's get back into it. Most of the core stuff that's going to get a lot of your combos started has not changed, just slight ratios on some things. So of course you're still going to run your 3 Venus creation. You know, she's going to get your Shine Balls out the deck as long as you don't get ashed. Opening her and Called by the Grave is almost a really, just one of your most broken things you can open with. And if you get the Exodius with that as well, it just adds to the combos. Of course, the 3 Shine Ball, because she's going to summon them all at the deck. With Exodius and keeping her on board, you're going to get to reuse them and spend a lot of life points, but most likely to win the game. Then next, I'm not too sure what my ratio was in the last profile, but I do bounce between 2 and 3 on Exodius a lot. With the way generic linking and Saryuja has come out and a lot of more links now, the difference between my old builds when World Chalice first came out is I was really reliant on seeing every combo piece, so I needed 3 Exodius. But now with being able to open with a lot different hands and still kind of do something has changed that a lot. So I'm just running the 2 Exodius because, it's been fine. And that's it for that engine. Moving on to your World Chalice monsters, this has not changed for me for a long time. It's always going to be 3 World Legacy World Chalice. This is one of your main parts of your combo when you tribute and you, for this guy, and he's sent to the graveyard after he's been normal summoned, he's going to summon 2 World Chalice out of your deck. And so if you summon Lee, you're going to get an additional search after that, and he just always going to be at 3 to me. And as mentioned, we are also going to be running 3 Lee, because Lee is your main searcher. You can pitch a monster to get her back to your hand, and it's nice to do that after you used her by pitching your Guard Dragon, because he can be banished from the graveyard to summon a normal to a zone a link points to in defense position, and that's just going to get extra monsters on board, all while keeping World Chalice monsters in your hand, so when you send their links away, you can get additional monsters on board after. Then 2 World Legacy Guard Dragon. He's the little guy I was just talking about. He's been getting a lot more play in other decks now with the Guard Dragons and other stuff like that, and I even run him in my Blue Eyes Guard Dragon. He's just a really nice card, honestly. And then 2 chosen by the World Chalice. Can I get a holo print of my homeboy one time? Please. I don't care what it comes in, but I need it. Still the only vanilla I feel worth running because he's a level 3. I mean, I have seen some very saucy combos involving the level 4 and some other things, but I'm still just running this guy because he's a level 3. I still like the E-Telly play, and it's just nice at 2, And that is it for the World Chalice monsters. So now for your last couple monsters, I am running 1 Gameciel and 1 Christia. So obviously, open both of these in your hand without a way to go off is terrible. But you can't really look at that when you're playing a deck. You just gotta kind of bank off of your combo pieces being in the deck. We're all gonna get those turns and those games where you open the stuff you're not supposed to see initially, and it just happens. So, but the reason these 2 are in here is because, believe it or not, if you can get the right looping and the right plays off, like if you still have to get an Ingirsu versus a Saryuja, or if you can get to that Saryuja, getting that Kyoto Waterfront that I now run in the deck too, which is what I used to run way back in the day with World Chalice, it's just nice to get 2 very powerful monsters, because if you can get a U-linked board, not U-linked, but a co-linked board with Trigate Wizard where he still has his negate, and then you get a Christia and a Gameciel on your field, you got multiple negates, a Kaiju so you can't be Kaiju'd outed, and a Christia which is stopping special summoning. So, it's nice. And I was against Christia for a while. A lot of people have been suggesting it to me for quite some time. But, it's just I never really took the time to realize even just 1 Venus and the 3 Shine Balls she gets off. Even if you just linked those for something, she would already be live. So, it's just a really nice card to have. And she adds to the power house and the lockdown of this deck. Then that's it for your conventional monsters. I did want to make my World Chalice a little more aggressive. So if you're looking for a little bit more budget friendly, you could change some of these next cards up. But I am running 2 Ash and 2 Ghost Ogre. I mean, the nice thing is these cards aren't even necessarily that expensive anymore. They're actually quite cheap depending on what rarities you want. But I feel like World Chalice doesn't need so much stuff that you can fit a lot of crap in here, you know? And let's be honest, if you're gonna play, I like to make a lot of rogue decks with a lot of fun, spicy text, but World Chalice was like kind of meta at one point, and if I do touch a deck that has done well, I do it right. I don't sacrifice like the deck being good for some of my like fancy little things I want to run. I leave that to my rogue decks and most of the other stuff I put on this channel. So those 4 hand traps is what I've found to work the best. And now we can move on to the spicy spells. So I'm running 2 Kyoto Routerfront. There is some stuff that I'm still working around in this deck because I haven't really liked running 3 or even running a terraforming to search it because I do a lot of thinning in this deck, and if I get a Saryuja, I typically end up drawing into a lot of the good. I mean, I know you don't want to always bank on that, but it is what it is, and just 2 Kyoto Waterfront work for me for now, and no terraforming or anything. You can slash me all you want in the comments for that, but that's just what I want. So I'm still running 2 Mind Control as well. I don't really like this deck needing to go first, and having Mind Control is nice when my opponent wins the die roll, because sometimes they can make a almost broken board and I can just Mind Control that clutch monster and use it to start my board, you know? So still 2 Mind Control. Probably end up siding a 3rd one if I ever compete with this, or maybe even just siding the Mind Controls period and try to go first, but we'll see. Still 2 Transmodify as well. I've tested this at 3 as well, and more often than not, rather than ending up with the Lee in the hand, I was ending up with the Shine Ball and this, and it's like, you know, I know that might have been just my dumb luck, but I still like Transmodify at 2. It's just to bounce up to that Venus. Next up, 2 Called by the Grave. Now this is a spell card you can consider at 3. I like to keep the same logic I keep in my Evil Swarm with this card, is whereas in my Evil Swarm, even though I can get a lot of plays off with just normal summoning, my Rabbit is my big combo facilitator. And in this deck, your Venus is essentially like your rescue Rabbit. If they Ash that Venus and you don't have follow-up like an E-Telly to just even get 1 extra monster or some other bullcrap in your hand, you're most likely dead in your tracks right there. So Called by the Grave, you could put it up to 3 because essentially each copy could be for each Venus, you know? Moving on to some of the last of our spells, which is all of our one-ofs, is going to be Raigeki and Dark-Hole. To be honest, as much as you need a lot of aggression in this meta, I'm finding myself taking this duo combo out in a lot of my decks and only running Raigeki. Only decks that I keep the Dark Holes in as well are decks like Yangzing and Nephthys that can benefit off of my self-destruction as well. So Dark Hole could be a card you can potentially cut for that 3rd Called by the Grave. But for now, I like the aggression and it helps. Of course, 1 Monster Reborn, broken, why not run it? 1 E-Telly to get out them normals. 1 Reasoning, which has been always one of my favorite cards to tech in random decks like this that have a lot of different levels. 1 World Legacy's Heart still, because the reason why I still think this card is great is because it gets 2 World Chalice from your graveyard with different names, and when your World Chalice links go away, it's really crappy when you don't have any World Chalice in your hand to summon them, when that effect works. And this guy can also be banished from the graveyard to search out your World Legacy cards on a different turn than he was sent. So, you know, it's just nice to have that. Then, the more broken World Legacy card, 1 World Legacy Succession. Realistically, you could swap out Monster Reborn for a second one of these since it's a searchable version, but I like having the different versatilities because, of course, this is only activate 1 per turn. But it is nice. And then the last card in your main deck is going to be the one and only trap, which is just the Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine, because it's just essentially a normal warrior, and you know, just a normal monster helps get that Link Spider out or anything like that. So you know, just that's it for the main deck. Pretty short and sweet, pretty powerful too in my opinion. So now the extra deck. So this is the one that's really hurt me recently to switch around and kind of really like mess with, but so far this is what I've come up with, and I'll let you know what I'm liking and disliking. So I am running 2 Imduk. That's the first thing that I'm a little uncomfortable with. I really miss this guy at 3, but you kind of just I needed more versatility in the extra deck. I needed a lot more of the nightmares and stuff like that to give me more answers to things. But 2 Imduk for now, 1 Ib and 1 Aurum still, because believe it or not, the main reason I run Aurum is not so much for the basic combo that leads to your Nagirsu and drawing 3, which is still doable, but A lot of people would say that combo's kind of pointless now when you could probably just make a Saryuja with all those material. But I still do like Ningirsu for his spot removal. And another thing is, as long as you can get this guy off with 2 World Chalice, he's still, as long as you can pop something, he's still a monster reborn for something in your grave, you know? So getting some late game high link or something isn't bad with him either. And then, as I also mentioned, 1 Ningirsu still. He is probably going to end up being one of the power cards that I end up taking out. Maybe even just for the 3rd Imduk again, but we'll see, because I also did take Link Karibo out this deck. But we'll see. So far, this has been working out. And your last World Chalice monster is going to be, of course, the new wonderful Ib, who, if you guys don't know what she does, you can make her with any World Chalice normal monster as a tuner. That's why I don't have any tuners in this deck. But when she summons, she searches out any World Legacy card, and then when she's sent to the graveyard, you can summon a World Chalice monster from your deck or graveyard. Except her, you know. And it's just really good, really good card. She's gonna get you that World Legacy out, all those 2 spells that you can get your plays extended with, and all that. So next is our Nightmare package. Don't run the Ibli, don't run the Mermaid. All I run for the Nightmares is the Phoenix, Cerberus, Unicorn, and Griffin. Unicorn, honestly, I do like his returning to the deck effect, but he is another link in here that I have been thinking of experimenting around with, you know, and potentially removing him. But for now, I really do like the Nightmare package because it just helps you with outs, and it helps you set up more annoying things, because you can't go off in this deck as much as you could back in the day, because it's kind of got power crept over time. And then for the last set of links, it's all just our generic links, you know, that aren't really particularly an engine. The 1 Link Spider, I used to run multiples of this, you know, and that's part of the reason why I ran Link Karibo too. I used to run multiples just to make up for in case I got outed or people pop shit. But I realized you can't really do that. You gotta just go for your combo. You gotta just go for stuff and hope it flows, you know. The new card I am testing in place of a second Link Spider or Link Karibo is Security Dragon. Now, I know obviously he's not as broken as Firewall, but he is a nice monster to have on the top at the end of all your plays, like to have on the top in your main extra monster zone, you know, while all your other stuff is around. And if you can just have him co-link sitting up there while you have a Trigate and some other crap, you can bounce a monster and then get some other stuff done, and it's really nice to just be annoying. Then of course I still run the Trigate Wizard because he's part of the old school combos and with this deck, and he's just a really fun card to go into consistently and make. And then last are your 2 big boys, Saryuja, because you can make it really easy sometimes, and it draws and it recycles, so why not? And then of course a Borreload Dragon. Borreload could easily be Boral Sword if you prefer that more. I honestly think Boral Sword wouldn't be a bad option over Borreload in this deck, simply because getting rid of monsters and stuff like that isn't really your problem in this deck, but sometimes if you didn't get the right hand, doing enough damage can be. So Boral Sword, with that reprint coming out, might be a nice little tech that I switch out for our baby boy Borreload here. So that is it, y'all. I have updated the World Chalice to the best of my abilities. If you guys know any more saucier plays, if you got a World Chalice build that's been working out for you, please let us know in the comment section below. We love to hear from you guys. We love the criticism. We love the ideas. We love the support. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out more deck profiles. We're going to try to keep all the rogue crap coming to you and update as many decks as we possibly can. Joe out.